Yes, hello. I am James Rowland. Today it's WNR 604. It's WWE Clash in Italy. And I'm not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team up first by my side for every WWE and AEW show. Is, of course, the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jax?
Hello, hello, and welcome to another one. I'm eager and excited to chat about this one and the build up to
Yeah, the fun never stops, does it?
it. I suppose you could look at it as fun in one way, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, we're going to find out after a couple of hours here, I suppose. But like I said, we're not alone. Up next, I was an NXT expert and New Japan demigod, and of course, AEW Stanhausen. It is Monty. How's it going, man?
Going good. Like you said, AEW staying housing, so I'm way less excited this week. We're talking about the other company. Boo.
Yeah, we're gonna have to deal with speaking about the Fed. But like I said, this should be a good, a good one because we're not just talking about WWE. We're gonna have a lot of other stuff. But last but by no means least, we can't go on without her. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. When the well seems to shine like you've had too much wine, that's amore. Bells will ring, ting-a-ling-a-ling, ting-a-ling-a-ling, and you'll sing Vita Bella. Hearts will play, tippy-tippy-day, like a gay tarantella. Oh, when the stars make you drool just like a pasta, and offers you lots amore. When you dance down the street with a cloud at your feet, that's amore. That's amore. It is Gina. Oh my God. I think that got better as it went on. I'm not sure.
I I think it got better as it went on.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm going to give you
Yeah.
10 points for that.
Ah, get in there.
Hello.
My
I just
Italian.
tried
Ah, Gina.
to myself, shall I say something cool in Italian to start the stream? I didn't put enough research into it, so sadly, you're just going to get high.
Ah, ciao, Bella. Yeah, that's basically all I know. But it's great to have you. Are you looking forward to it? We've got a show ahead of us.
I am. I think that this is going to be a good show to review.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we've got three Raws and three SmackDowns, and we head to Clash in Italy with a stop in Mexico and a Saturday night's main event. So let's get to it. And then Raw, May 11th, and fresh off a victory over Seth Rollins at Backlash, Bron Breakker led Paul Heyman and the rest of the Not Vision to the ring. Street Profits interrupted. Logan went to say something, and Joe Hendry interrupted him. This led to the Street Profits and Joe Hendry versus Bron, Logan, and Theory. And Rollins appeared and attacked Breaker. That distraction allowed Ford to roll Theory up and score the win for the baby faces. And after the match, Rollins helped Dawkins to his feet, only for Breaker to flatten him with a spear. So when we last left it, it was Backlash. But Jackson, it seems that every segment involving Bron ended with him spearing someone, usually Seth, just to end it. You know what I mean? It's a good way of ending a segment, I suppose.
I mean, it definitely got his point across that he couldn't, just deliver a spear out of nowhere. I think that was the point he was trying to get across. But, whether or not he was truly getting into the mind of Seth, I'm not entirely sure. So like this one right from the get-go, it's hard to call because we know that this should have blown over from before. So this is almost like it's catching up with itself, and it's a wonder as to where things are leading between either man at this point.
Yeah, without a doubt. We got a back and forth promo for all ego, denying Penta's request for a match between them, but do it at Saturday night's main event instead. For Luchador could finish his promo, Rusev interrupted him. Javon arrived and a brawl broke out that concluded with a babyface standing tall. This led to Rusev versus Javon. Evans hit the OG cut and secured the victory. And it's weird that we got the same segments back to back on a Raw. The women's tag team champions Brie, Bella, and Paige hit the ring to answer the Judgment Days who called him out last week. Rodriguez took a shot at Page past before Morgan attacked them out of nowhere. The heel stood tall to close the segment. And then we got Io Sky battling Soul Ruka. Soul tried for the Soul Snatcher seconds later, but Sky caught her with a crucifix roll up for the pin and the win in a really fun match. And again, Monty, sometimes WWE do this. They do put on a good match because sometimes they can't help it with the talent involved. And I think Soul Ruka and Io Sky showed just how talented they were.
Yeah, I think every now and then Triple H remembers who EO is and what she's best at, and I think like you said, sometimes they get into their wrestling fan mode and actually put on something that because you really can't really put those two in together without the expectation or the assumption that they're going to put on a entertaining contest. I mean, Soul may be young, but we know what her moveset is, and we know what EO can do in the ring. So I think, uh, especially with what we know they're headed towards for Soul when it comes to being in the IC title picture, and although EO, in my opinion, her her journey or like at least where she seemed to be heading at this moment seemed very unclear. It like you said, it is a good little reminder that that's somebody that, in my opinion, was considered the best wrestler in the company last year, and probably still should be looked at that way. But so far, for because of booking, I think we all can agree it's mostly because of creative. EO doesn't really get a chance to flex that much, so it's a good little reminder that like you said, that Raw is a wrestling show. I know sometimes it's confusing, but yeah, Raw still has wrestling on it sometimes, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't Raw better than SmackDown. So again, like I think you're going to see how I feel kind of about the product. But still, we'll continue. Obafemi hit the ring for his open challenge, and you find out Adam Pearce said no one would step up to battle him. So he walked backstage, grabbed Los Garza, and proceeded to carry both Angel and Berto to the ring, beat them down, and beat him in a handicap match. Backstage, Finn Balor wiped out JD McDonough, ensuring he would not get involved in Dominic Mysterio's Mega Championship defense against El Grande Americano. But interference from Rayo Bravo and Arrivo El Grande Americano allowed Mysterio to catch his opponent with a 619 to retain. This was the first time a title had been defended on Raw and Dynamite, which I'm sure some people found interesting. Before Roman Reigns could officially welcome the W Universe to acknowledgement ceremony at the conclusion of the show, Jacob Fatu arrived and wasted little time laying out both Jay and Jimmy for making a beeline for the tribal chief. A brawl erupted until Reigns neutralised him with a steel chair. Fatu recovered, and the battle between the tribal chief and his cousin continued, finishing with a Tongan death grip and a powerbomb through the table. He feigned leaving, only to drive Reigns and Usos through the timekeepers area to close the show. I mean, Gina, again, we get it. Jacob Fatu's fucking nuts, but not many people do take out Roman Reigns and Usos by themselves, you know?
Definitely. That's kind of telling you a lot. I mean, we feel like we've seen this a lot in terms of the Usos being taken out for people to get to Roman, but it's like Jacob's really kind of dominated and just run through all of them, whereas a lot of people kind of have to, take it in turns to get there to the top to get to Roman. But yeah, Jacob seems to have just wiped through them really easily.
Yeah, yeah, fuck him, I suppose. SmackDown, May 15th. Trick Williams came out to celebrate a homecoming of sorts at the University of South Carolina. Little Yachty and the team mascot, Cocky the Gamecock. I'm not making that up. He gave a promo that made a lot of the locals in the crowd happy. Also played the origin of his lemon pepper steppers. Surprisingly, the Miz and Kit Wilson came out to spoil the fun. This led to Trick beating Miz. And I guess now Jack's Trick is a baby face. Like, they're just going to go with it now. Do you know what I mean? Not officially turning, but he's just getting cheered.
I mean, what do you mean, James? It was always a baby face. Did you not hear those cheers from before? This is news to you? He always was. I just don't think he knew it.
Were you a fan of Cocky the Gamecock?
Huh?
Did you like
What?
the game? Cocky the Gamecock that was there? There's no mascot. Come on, don't be
Oh, the
filthy.
mascot. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. This was a while back, so you're reminding me of some of this stuff. That a
yeah.
lot has happened in the meantime. It was surely entertaining. This also brought up, real bad vibes. Rep gingerbread bread man. You know, I don't think we'll truly get over the original mascot.
We'll move on. Brie and Paige faced Julia and Kiani. James Page got the win for her team with a Rampage DDT on James. Kamala Hayes returned to beat Ricky Starks. Priest beat Tama. Talon and Solo Sikoa showed up after the match to attack the winner. Meechin and B-Fab versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Well, Cargo ended up causing a DQ when she pulled Bliss out the ring, attacked her right in front of the ref. And in the main event, Cody Rhodes came out and set up a table and chairs at the ring because he wanted Gunther to come out and finally sign his contract. He called out the ring general, and it didn't take long for him to appear. Gunther said Rose ruined a lot of time and effort to set up his SmackDown deal. He asked Cody to be professional and just from respects and say please. Royce Keys came out and said if Gunther won't sign the contract for title shot, he will. He marched to the ring. Rose handed him a pen. Gunther slid in the ring just to stop him. Nick Aldis showed up and decided to put Keys versus Gunther in number one contendership match. Sokoa showed up and attempted to help Keys. Referee was accidentally taken out. The distraction allowed Gunther to take control and hit his powerbomb for the win. Oh my God, Monty, I'd nearly forgotten about all that. But there you go. How to mix up a contract signing, I suppose, you know?
Yeah, it was a very good thing, in my opinion. A very good thing to kind of, like you said, refresh that formula. I liked how Royce did it. I think because Gunther, it didn't really make sense to me why Gunther. I guess kind of it did, but it didn't really make sense to me why Gunther was stalling in that situation when he had already kind of unveiled that this was all a part of his master plan to get a shot at Cody. So I didn't really understand why he was stalling. But at the same time, Royce coming in, like you said, was a good little shot. And I like the way he kind of got in front of Gunther. And then the match they had ended up being really good too, in my opinion. It basically was two big guys clobbering each other, physical fight. But again, like I mentioned, I'm glad so far you've been done a good job of calling on me, James, because you showed me basically the two best matches on of these television shows. So I appreciate that. But of the actual, just giving me the actual wrestling. But yeah, I think this is a good opportunity for Royce, even though he didn't win. I mean, it'll be your first big match when you think about like somebody who's pretty new to the roster, and like you get a big match with Gunther in this scenario. Even though none of us thought he would beat Gunther, I was just happy that he kind of got that placement and just felt like that. It at least feels like they're taking him a little bit serious, and more serious than some debuts than we've seen. So I thought that was a good look for Royce. I didn't think he looked like a chump or anything. I do think. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna reserve judgment, and I know we had a couple other weeks of television since then, so we all may have an opinion on it by now. But the finish of this match with the solo storytelling, at the time I was a little bit okay. What are we doing here? And I'm just like I'm gonna try to reserve judgment on wherever they may be trying to go with that. But again, I thought it was still a good match, and I was happy for Royce to even get that spot. And like you said, anytime WWE kind of try to do something outside of the formula, even if it don't always work, I kind of got to give them props because I also complain all the time when it's always the same. So I got to give them, especially on SmackDown, I got to give them some props for giving me a good match and, like you said, switching up the contract process.
Yeah, without a doubt. Raw May 18th, backstage, Roman Reigns arrived at the arena and was immediately confronted by Adam Pearce, who tried to convince the OTC to do things his way. Fatu called out Reigns, but Jimmy and Jay answered. Jay tried a cheap shot, and Fatu walked both out, laying both down with a Tongan death grip. Roman Reigns made his way to the ring, with the world title in hand. Again, Fatu dominated, but the Usos took him out with a few super kicks, a spear, and a 1D. Fatu still got up, and the bloodline teed off him, and they left him lying. But he did manage to get on the microphone and challenge Roman Reigns to a tribal combat match. I accept, Reigns said. Oh, my word. Gina, again, tribal what is it? Combat. There we go. I suppose we were going to get to this point between Fatu and Roman.
Yeah, it feels like it's been brewing to get to this point now. And I think, Jacobs had to go for the main title. He lost that match, but the tensions are still high. So what's higher than a championship match and, sort of bringing in the Samoan lineage, this tribal combat is that. So it feels like this is where it was intending to go to a tribal combat match to make the stakes even higher. Um, but again, you have to say you're invested, and it doesn't feel like the solo sort of turn either, because it does feel like the story is quite different in what they're telling, and the way Jacob is running through them is quite different. So yeah, it's definitely intriguing. And I think everybody's invested still in this because Jacob Fatu is crazy and everybody seems to love that.
Yeah, they really love some crazy person, don't they? Um, we get Irish Street Fight, Finn Balor versus JD McDonough. Dominic Mysterio made his way to the ring, distracting Balor, allowing his Judgment Day teammates to deliver a big suplex through a table. The Hills beat down Balor in a 2-on assault, only for the inaugural Universal Champion to dodge a 619, wipe out the Hills, and deliver a coup de grace on McDonough, who was trapped inside a trash can for the win. I did love the callback to JD versus A-Kid from NXT UK with Devlin's moonsault there. Backstage, Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch interrupted the Soul Ruka promo, only to be called out moments later in an in-ring promo. Ruka issued a challenge for the match between the two. Lynch turned it down, but said she would face her at Saturday night's main event, but not for the championship. Americano Bravo Rio defeated OG Americano Bruto and Julio. Backstage, Ellen Knight interrupted the Usos promo and called them out for doing the same thing under Roman Reigns they had combated division for doing. You do dirt, you get dirt, Knight said in the first of two really good statements. All Ego threatened to win the Intercontinental Championship from Penta. And then the Women's Tag Team Championship match, Paige and Brie Bella versus Judgment Day. Prez tried to use a tag belt on Bella, but she ducked and rolled up prodigy for the win and a successful title. The Hills jumped the champions, but Bailey and Lyra made the save, keeping their own title contention alive. Jaxie, what are your thoughts on the women's tag division? Because it kind of gone nowhere. I'm not having to go at Paige and Brie. I don't mind them, but again,
Mm.
there seem to be a lot of teams there, but it just kind of stagnated a little bit.
I'm not gonna lie, every time you bring up one of these matches that have taken place, my first instinct is to go, oh yeah, I forgot they were the tag champs. Because like
Mm.
it's kind of like the tag division's gone nowhere. I mean, since WrestleMania, since the big win from Paige and Bray, even promo wise, it's kind of been quiet. We're seeing all these women's tag matches, but a majority of it isn't really surrounding the actual women's champions. It's actually surrounding other opponents to oppose them from challenging the women's champions. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I keep forgetting that Paige and Brie are the champs, especially at our current status where we are at the moment. It seems like, like a lot of like sort of promo time right now has just sort of died down from those two. So I got I got to I got to admit I'm kind of just disappointed as to how lackluster I feel towards the women's tag division at the moment. No fault on any of the women in the tag division. I just don't think right now we're getting any decent content for it to be as consistent on our mind.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. It's interesting to see. Hopefully, it will improve, but again, it's just so samey. Like I said, they're not front and center, are they? So
I
this is the
feel like
issue.
I feel like they're trying to wait for Nikki to get better so that they can drop the Nikki storyline of wanting to come back and take her half of the belt and that sort of thing. But because she's not available, I don't know what it is, but like Bree's not exactly like the best of wrestlers. So I think like the interest lies within Paige being back, but it just still feels lackluster.
Yeah, and again, it's that same point with the kind of Liv Morgan
Just
thing.
yeah.
You know, like it's
But like I feel like Paige initially like was meant to come back in a sort of singles capacity. So I feel like, the momentum behind her return has already died down, being part of
mm,
this tag division when we already know it originally was meant to be Nikki and Brie that won those belts. So yeah, I have to just add on that and just think like, what are you doing with these legends and kind of what are you doing with the tag division right now? Because the current women who are legitimate tag teams are all just kind of stagnant and doing nothing.
yeah. Like I said, and again, even if like injury just changed plans, it seems it's not changing plans. They just wait and then just wait someone comes back from injury. Like even with the
Yeah, they
champions
seem
at
to
this
just
moment in
wait it
time.
out. They seem to just wait it out, but then they wait too long. Do you know what I mean? This like it's
Yeah.
very reminiscent of even the Bron Breakker stuff. Bron Breakker was ready at WrestleMania, but you decided to wait and put Seth in with Gunther, and I just feel like that already died down the momentum between
Yeah.
Braun and Seth when we finally got there. It's kind of like the same now. I kind of feel like, yeah, we are just waiting on Nikki, as my sister said.
Well, backstage, LA Knight continues his accountability tour, calling Seth Rollins out and refusing to have his back against the Vision, saying, "The enemy of my enemy is not my friend." And then as Obafemi made his way to the squared circle for his weekly open challenge, Brock Lesnar shockingly appeared and attacked him from behind. Brock hit Femi with four F5s, laying out his WrestleMania 42 opponent and rendering his retirement absolutely pointless. Monty, again, another big talking point. Brock returned. He wasn't really retired.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, like I said, I did think the way he left originally, if you wanted to let there be a way out, I think the cool thing about that is that it's not really one of those things that's done like that often in WWE. So I thought that would have been something that would have been a unique way to go. But uh, I'm not even really shocked at all by this. I mean, I think the moment itself may have caused. I saw a lot of different opinions about it, and I understand, but at the same time, it's just like it's WWE, and like I don't know if this got a lot to do more so to do with my just. I ain't gonna say fed up because I'm not really fed up. I think I'm very indifferent about a lot of stuff that WWE do now, and I think the reason why I'm mostly indifferent about this is it's just another thing that they can try to profitize on. Like I think that that first match went is well, probably way better than they imagined. The crowd reaction to it, the way people were so excited for it with Oba winning and all of that, and even the reaction to that possibly being Brock's last match. And I think some of that may play a factor. Now, again, maybe some reports that came out that can explain that this was always the plan and Brock was always going to come back and whatever. But I don't know how much of the taking the boots off in the ring and letting that be it, seemingly. I don't know how much of that was planned. Maybe it all was. Who knows? Wrestling is like that. But I just think this is very WWE of them. I mean, what do we know, James? They're gonna try to get a trilogy out of anything that makes them a lot of money or make a lot of headlines. In this case, for them, and I just once I seen that once I watched the moment, I saw he was back, and I seen everybody's reaction to it. I was like, well, I wasn't really shocked, but I wasn't as disappointed as I saw other people were. But I was just like, yeah, this makes sense. Like, unfortunately. And I think it also unfortunately kind of plays a factor to when we talk about the actual match in Clash of just like how we kind of can see what's going to go on because we know how WWE works. Going to make a trilogy out of this. So yeah, they're gonna try to capitalize on this and try to cash out on it. And this was the confirmation of it. And I don't know. Again, I don't know exactly how to feel about it, but yeah, he's back, and this is one of those things that, like I said, that just kind of comes with being a modern day fan. You got to kind of understand that some of these predictable, beneficial for virality and possibly money making moments in their eyes is what they're gonna always kind of go with instead of the things that feel good or the things that make the most sense. Like Brock just kind of letting that be the end of it. But you can make the argument that maybe this makes more sense to you. That Brock didn't need to go out that way because I actually heard some of those takes, which I don't agree with. But hey, that's kind of where
Yeah.
we at.
No, I find it's one step forward, two steps back. It's always
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Um, So yeah, we'll have to deal with it. Seth Rollins beat Austin Theory after the match. Dawkins made the save for Rollins, leading to Ford making the save for his tag team partner. He took exception to Dawkins saving Rollins and a spear from Bron Breakker. There it is to end the segment. A bit of news on May 20th. Ludwig Kaiser, LKL El Grande Americano, whose real name is Marcel Barthel, was arrested in Florida after being charged with battery and bonded at the correction center in Orlando. Gina, I don't know if you saw the big news. I mean, I'm sure you saw the mugshot that came with it. And a lot of people were kind of, I don't know, the story kind of evolved. And in the end, it looks like he was actually, sticking up for his girlfriend in a hotel. But what I want to say as well, who posted his bail was Gunter. So he's always going to have his back as well.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I had heard the story, but I didn't realize it was Gunter who had posted his bail. So but yeah, like you said, he's always going to have his back, and we never know what happens in these situations. And the thing is, we've seen countless videos spread online now of wrestlers being hounded by fans non-stop, and it can lead to wrestlers really fearing for their lives and really fearing for their loved ones who they're with if they are getting flocked or antagonized. And we don't know these situations. You see the mugshot straight away. You already see that people are judging or sending hate online. But then you find out deeper details, like the altercation was him, protecting his partner. And in that sense, it completely flips the narrative. So it's like everyone then decides to get back online to then give their tutus again, and the whole situation gets blown up more than rather than just, let let Kaiser get through the situation and try and keep it as low key as possible to not let it blow it up bigger than what it is. So yeah, I'm glad that his partner is okay. I'm glad that he's okay. It's unfortunate that they've run into this altercation, but yeah, either way, I'm glad Gunter had his back.
Yeah, without a doubt. SmackDown, May 22nd. I fucking hate watching SmackDown. I'm not going to lie. Ripley promo, and she will give Cargill her rematch. Bliss and Flair arrived, so did Fatal Influence, and the tag match was made for later. Shinsuke Nakamura returned to action for the first time since facing AJ Styles at Saturday night's main event. I mean, he isn't injured, they just don't care. He lost to Talatonga. Tama stopped Solo so he could hit Nakamura himself. Tiffany Stratton US Open Challenge. I guess an Open Challenge is AI's favourite go-to whilst booking. Lash answered even though she's going for the tag titles tomorrow. Chelsea Green shoved Jax in the ring post. Legend got distracted and it led to Stratton rolling her up for the win. Now, Jaxie, I'm not being biased, but I mean, this was a fucking mess. I don't know if you can cast your mind back, but honestly, I like Chelsea Green. Don't get me wrong, but Stratton and Lash probably shouldn't be in the ring together.
I hardly remember this match, but I do remember sort of like the most I remember it from it is like the fuck ups,
Yeah.
and it was just quite sloppy. And I don't want to blame fault on either woman, but I also just kind of don't know whether or not there was like a clash in miscommunication of what was meant to be going down, or just clash of nerves. Like it's sometimes like we have these sort of matches where it just one thing leads to another, and it just gets messier and messier. And this was one of those matches.
Yeah, it was. It really was a mess. Trick Williams and Yachty came to the ring for a segment. They bragged about beating The Miz last week. Took about 30 seconds before Carmelo Hayes came out. Williams said he was willing to face him, but he wouldn't put the title on the line. And there's only one to expect for the match. They had a highly entertaining and enjoyable one, and Ricky distracted Mello so Tricky could win. You see, they go again, Monty. See what they do? They give us Mello versus Trick, but they give us in a way that, do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, right, thanks, but, I don't know. Fuck WWE.
Yeah, they don't value the match in the way fans do, I believe. I think the fans and not even just us as people who watch them in NXT, but like people who see the potential in Melo, you can just tell by the way they try their best to to not try to make another Daniel Bryan in Melo, but it really feels like they're gonna kind of force it there. They're gonna force it at some point with the way they book it because it's very similar to the way Bryan was booked in a sense where the fans want to see him. People want to see him showcased a certain way. And I'm not saying he had to win or anything, but to give this Trick Williams match, like basically the most anticipated feud for Trick in that division currently, in my opinion, would be something with Melo, and to kind of just get his match away on SmackDown. And I know Melo's busy with doing, whatever he got going on with Ricky is what they're trying to build toward. But uh, yeah, man, it's still annoying because I think you they I just love how convenient it is. Like Triple H is one of the main ones who try to proclaim in the past how much he look at social media to help him shift what fans want. And like if you actually pay attention to social media, the fans want Melo to be put in prominent positions and not just a match every now and then, and not like they want an actual storyline for these two guys over their belt. And obviously WWE, like you said, doing whatever they can to kind of do the opposite and kind of show you that no, we don't really view that as being a priority right now. So it's unfortunate, but that's just where we at right now with the booking and uh, you know, uh, we know how I think it is. I think the most frustrating thing too, from our perspective, is that we know it can be a well told story because they got so much history.
Yeah.
And like so, I think that's the most annoying part. Is that yeah, well, we got history, but let's mention it a little bit, gloss over it mostly, and then move on. It's very annoying.
Well, the match made earlier was next as Charlotte and Ripley beat Lani Reed and Fallon Henley. Cargill, B-Fab, and Michin showed up and attacked the babyface alongside Toxic Attraction. Cargill hit Rhea with a Jada finisher to the segment. Do you know what? I'm so confused if it's Toxic Attraction or Fatal Influence or if I should even care. Solo beat Priest. I mean, the MFTs are killing me, man. I mean, come on, I just don't care about the MFTs, you know? Chelsea Green tried to make friends with Blake Monroe, but Monroe mocked her. Keys and Priest had a disagreement backstage, and the week's main event saw Cody Rhodes take on a man he used to consider one of his best friends, Sami Zayn, because, I mean, why not? Gunther got involved, but Rhodes used it to his advantage and ended up hitting Zayn with a crossroads for the win. Zayn looked like he was going to help his friend, but he ended up letting Gunther choke him out. Oh, Gina, there's trouble there, you know. And don't get me wrong, I don't mind the Cody Sammy like segments and stuff, but as a long-term story, I don't know. Like I said, I'm jaded, man. But what were your thoughts on this?
I mean, I'm a little bit like you at the beginning of this. Like right now, I just don't enjoy SmackDown, and I just don't. I can't exactly like point out why. And it's not like I dislike the people on SmackDown, but it's like even this match with Cody and Sammy, it's like why was this match put there though? Why did Sammy just all of a sudden? Either way, um, yeah, I'm not surprised that Sammy just walked away. We've seen him dropping his little heel tendencies now, and the fact that he's flipped, especially with the feud with Trick. So it's kind of not surprising. I think it would have doubled down on that if he had gone back to save Cody. So yeah, it's understandable that he just walked off all coldly.
Mm. Saturday night's main event then, May 23rd, and Michael Cole welcomed us to the show for WNR video to hype the event. First match of the card was a six-women tag with Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss taking on Jade Cargill, B-Fab, and Michin. Cargill opted not to face Ripley at first, so she tagged in B-Fab to start the match, and the women's champion took control and tagged in Bliss for a quick double team. The Hills were able to take control once Flair tagged in by cutting off the ring in half and making quick tags. The crowd popped when Eradicate got the hot tag late in the match. It looked like Flair and Ripley finally found a common ground, had a nice moment with Bliss before it finally come to an end with Cargill hitting Ripley with a jaded for the win. Jaxie, I mean, what were your thoughts on this? Because again, as soon as Cargill got the win, I was like, well, she's not winning the Clash then.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, well, that was my thoughts exactly straight away, you know. Again, like, you know, I liked a little bit of sort of like the storytelling that was going on between Ripley and Charlotte, but this also just kind of just felt very similar to what we see regularly when it comes to sort of building up for, you know, women's title matches is like them sort of getting together, having a tag match, them losing that tag match just before the pay-per-view so that they win at the pay-per-view, you know? It just gives incentive towards whether or not Jade can actually do it or not. And, you know, we'll talk about the match when we finally get there for Clash in Italy. But as you said, that was my thoughts exactly the moment that Jade hit the Jaded. It looked good, but yeah, I already knew kind of sadly what the inevitable was going to happen.
Flair's gear was covered in friendship bracelets she's received from fans over the years. Jaxie, where's your friendship bracelets? Have you got?
Probably on her ass. Never mind.
Jay Seymour gear paying homage to Michael Jackson. Up next, Sol Ruka was hoping to analyze the title shot by defeating Becky Lynch. She had a quick interview with Kathy Kelly backstage for making her entrance, and the man decided to take the low road and attack Ruka for the bell by throwing the IC title at her and beating her down. She argued with Jessica until Ruka recovered and knocked her down. Ref picked up the bell, and Ruka picked up Lynch to plant her on her face. The High Flyer hit a series of high-impact moves to keep Lynch on the defense. The champion pulled the ref in the path of the Soul Snatcher and ended up leading the referee calling for the bell. The announcer said Lynch was disqualified, but Wade Barrett seemed to think it the wrong name and should have been the other way around. Lynch came back to the ring and attacked Ruka with 3 manhandle slams. I mean, Monty, again, what are your thoughts on this? And why does Jess Carr keep refereeing Becky's matches? Like, surely there's something there, you know?
Well, Jessica used to wrestle, so At some point, we probably gonna get a Jessica return to the ring, and her opponent gonna be Becky. So don't be surprised if that's the angle we get at some point, because they obviously they want to hammer home that point that fuckery happens whenever Jessica is around with Becky in a match. But yeah, this wasn't good. I mean, you talked about the Last Legend stuff. And and I don't even remember that match, so I'm gonna just take your word that that was bad. But I know this one for sure on Saturday Night's main event. I mean, it ended up just basically being an angle one, so that's one reason why it wasn't that good. It just wasn't even really a match. It was just kind of like you said, because of the ref stuff, and then just kind of for whatever reason. And I think I felt kind of bad for Soul here because I feel like she kind of been getting the a rough for this entire little first storyline, for a storyline that's supposed to kind of submit her, in my opinion. It's been kind of also showing like some of the holes in the game, and not even just on her completely. I just think whether it's her and Becky Lynch's chemistry, or just like the way they decide to book certain things in this feud, it just hasn't come together well, in my opinion. And I think, a couple of the botch soul snatchers, which again, like I always say, it's an impractical, tough move. I'm not really gonna act like she got to be perfect all the time with that, but that's kind of at this point, kind of halted momentum in a sense. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't really like this entire segment at all, and just kind of felt weird placed, in my opinion, because I thought as formulaic as the first match was, at least it was logical, and I thought they wrestled a solid match. And this one is just like, oh, okay, well, this was a waste of my fucking time, in my opinion. About like just like in what they ended up just being a waste, and so. Yeah, I wasn't too keen on this. And like I said, I kind of felt bad for Soul because I think this is kind of important for her. I know people know her for doing cool shit and all of that, but first impressions are a lot, and never know how many people's first impression this feud has been for them for Soul. And you don't, I know how it is. Once a lot of people label you as overrated or not good, it's kind of hard to get that off you. So, uh, at this point, I was kind of down on this feud. After this, and I was just like, man, it's been rough to watch. So I don't know, it just wasn't the best showing especially for Saturday Night Main Event. I know it may not be a PLE, but I know they want you to at least feel like it's like a special event, and this wasn't good.
Yeah, right. Like I said, Soul messed up the Soul Snatcher on Jess. And the picture went weird during Jackson Legend interview, and only came back when All Ego was in the ring for his match against Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. Penta started with a go behind and a waist lock and a kickstart series of counters and reversals. Page miscalculated the counter, ended up taking a kick to the gut, but recovered the right way and took the champ down in the corner. And this was a great performance between two veterans. Page's own dirty tactic was used against him when Penta shoved him into exposed turnbuckle, brought hit the destroyer for the win to retain his title. Gina, what were your thoughts on this?
I thought this was a great match. It showed that Ethan Page was like in a great light. It showed he can be on par with someone like Penta. I think Penta always looks great in his matches. He never kind of lets down. And he's very popular. So yeah, I thought it was a good match. We got to see some wrestling, and shit happens. I didn't expect Ethan to come in and sort of go on a massive winning binge. He's going to win some and lose some. So I don't think it's going to hurt him, especially because he's so charismatic on the mic. I think he'll easily just come back from this next week with beef with someone else or still with Penta. So yeah, it was a great match between them.
Yeah, and again, I'm a huge fan of All Ego, but Penta's presentation has been on point recently as well. Like Penta looks like a star, and
He
his
really
reign,
does.
yeah, it's been really, really good. The women's tag titles were up for grabs when Paige and Brie Bella put the belts on the line against the former champions Lash Legend and Nia Jax. Jax tried to attack the champions for the belt, but they dodged her and took control right away. Brie hit a few moves from the top rope, but tried one too many, got caught with a Samoan drop. The challengers spent a long time dominating Paige, and they both had a big power advantage, made sure to throw her around. But Paige and Brie ended up scoring a win to retain their titles. And Jax, just like you said, a little bit earlier, this match is just happened. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of really
Yep.
forgettable.
hmm I was gonna say it was just there, and yet again another moment of mine where I was like, oh yeah, I forgot they were champs. It's just I don't know what's so lackluster about it, but also like the way that you first presented Lash and Nia was like pretty strong, and all of a sudden they're losing to the likes of these two legends that when you put them side by side, Lash and Nia should not be losing to these two, like especially in a singles tag match. So yeah, okay, take that as you will. Nikki, hurry up, yeah. But stop having Brie and Paige hold those titles hostage just for your return. Hurry up.
Oh, my word. Well, the men's tag title bout served as the main event. Logan Paul and Austin Theory defended the belts against Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. The Not Vision managed to get the upper hand and kept Dawkins isolated for a little while. Ford got the hot tag. The Profits almost won with a doomsday blockbuster, and the crowd actually chanted, "This is awesome." Bron Breakker tried to interfere, but the Profits saw him coming and sent him over the announce table in an incredible spot. I mean, this is why Bron gets injured, everybody. They had the match won, but Heyman put Fury's foot on the bottom rope, pulled now forward with the brass knuckles, allowing Fury to cover him for the pin and the win. Monty, again, a good match, but should they maybe have, had the Profits going over in this one, or again, long-term storytelling, I suppose?
I mean, based on probably what happened to the YouTube, for sure. But you know, but I don't really. I'm treating this like Triple H treats this division usually. Yeah, who cares who win, to be honest. But uh, I'm happy that as much as I say he don't care about tag team wrestling, it was cool to get them in that main event. I think the Street Profits are excellent. And even the Vision did their job well here too, as heels. I think that last stretch of that match was like some very, very compelling stuff, some good wrestling. And it's cool when that I wish I didn't have in the back of my mind as I'm watching the match that as good as this may be, it won't matter by next week, no matter who wins or whatever, because the tag belts are just not important. Like unfortunately, and like you would think that it's just a main event. All right, they're trying to actually make it feel important. But I think all of us know that it's good. No matter how good this match could have been, an all-time classic tag match, and we still would have been struggling to remember that the Division had these tag belts a couple weeks later. Like that's just how WWE books these belts. So it would have been cool to see the Street Profits win it, but honestly, I just don't know what difference it makes if they carry it or not at this point. Not saying that the Street Profits themselves, I think they're great, and I think both guys have only gotten better as time went on. But I just think with the way WWE depicts teams and just uh, my current interest level in general with in the division, also, it's just like, oh well. Honestly, I prefer to just see where the Street Profits go in general, whether it's individually or what. I'm just more interested in that overall direction going forward versus whether or not they have to be tag champs again. Because I love the Street Profits, but they've been tag champs multiple times. And what ended up happening? They get the belts and then kind of fade into obscurity either with them or challenging for them. So I don't have a lot of optimism at all about either tag division. That's why as much as y'all talk about the women's tag, I'm just like I can keep this simple for you, whether Nikki there or not. He don't care about the tag division.
We'll move on. Raw, 25th of May. Paul Heyman kicked off Raw, hyping a match that does not need it. Obafemi arrived, and he signed a contract and finished by telling the wise man to deliver a message to Lesnar. At WrestleMania, I was fighting to beat him. Sunday, I am fighting to kill him. Oh, kill him. Next, he's going to say he hates him. That's part of the banned words, I suppose. In the Intercontinental
Ooh.
Championship match, Penta versus Javon Evans. Evans went for an OG cutter. Penta countered with backstab and added the flipping pole driver for the win. Again, Gina, Javon Evans is one of those I thought was really going to break out, but they're kind of leaning on like a slight heel turn now, and I don't know if he needs it because he's just so goddamn popular, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he had so much popularity even coming out of the big ladder match that he was a part of, you know. He's had some great like one-on-one matches to just really get his name out there and introduce himself into this main roster. And then I don't know, I don't know if it's worth saying is it too soon for a heel turn, but I don't think he's been involved in enough one-on-one storylines for a heel turn to feel significant at this moment, you know?
Mm.
I just felt like they should have kept continuing with the hype that he originally had. And if you wanted to do a heel turn, maybe do it, you know, later in this year or winter in this year after he's built a big rapport to make that big shock factor of the turn. I think like WWE is just getting too repetitive in what they're trying to do that it's starting to just become predictable.
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, well, apart from me being terrible at predictions, but I understand, you know, it is predictable to some. We did get some good news, everybody. Logan Paul will miss months of action after suffering a torn triceps against the Street Fighter. Everybody, come on, let's have a little party here. Um, Paul Heyman informed Austin Theory that he will continue to defend the tag titles with Bron Breakker as a result of a clause he put in the division's contracts. Plus, like Monty points out, everybody hates the tag team division in
Right.
WWE. Can I also say,
That,
when adding muscle injuries, injuries like this happen, I mean, especially if you
yeah.
maybe aren't being tested, which I guess maybe Logan isn't because he, you know, YouTuber. I'm not saying he's taken anything, but he has added muscle mass recently, you know, like.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. No.
Uh,
No. I'm picking up what you putting down. Also, the Vision's curse. I'm just
yes.
saying. Please, just end the faction, guys. Just call it. Maybe just change the
Logan
name of
will
the.
come back and Theory will go out injured.
Yeah. Yeah. Just call it. Just change the name of the group. Like maybe that. How about this? Let's start with that. Like stay together, but like call it something else because whatever the Vision got going on, it ain't working.
Oh my word. Well, Theory responded by vowing to take out the men who hurt his partner. So as Joe Hendry was singing Fire Logan Paul, Austin attacked him with a steel chair and he beat him down, conclude vicious assault with another chair shot, this time to the head and neck as he was in the ropes. Um, again, I was like, poor Joe Hendry. You know, it's not
Yay,
his fault
theory
Logan got
push.
injured.
That's just what we want. A theory push, guys. Yeah.
uh, Seth Rollins trying to talk sense into Dawkins and the Street Profits. Montez Ford interrupted. A match was made, which Rollins won, and then Theory reappeared, issued another brutal assault, this time to Dawkins, capping off a floor-assisted concerto. Again, Jaxie, what has got into Austin Theory? He should have a member of his group being injured every week if he's going to be like this.
I mean, maybe this is about time for him to branch out from the Vision because he seems to be the only one who is able to withstand injury at this point because of everyone of his team members continue to go off on it and he's the only one standing, you know?
Oh.
So, I mean, like this is it's just a bit of a mess for me because I'm trying to see how Paul Heyman is trying to continue to have relevance with the vision and making it work. But the more and more the injuries take place, the more and more I'm like, this is a dead end group. It's kind of cursed. Did Danhausen get to it? Because uh, looking more like that might be the case.
That should be honestly, if they did that as a reveal of like Danhausen, like eight, you know what I mean, 12 months ago,
But
cursing
actually had
the
cursed all of them. That would make
yeah,
so much sense.
with
You
backstage
know, and
alteration with Paul Heyman or something like that, and he cursed him, and then we see the video and
it
actually
really
like, oh
would be
yeah,
clever.
yeah. But
Yeah,
this
I
is
think it really would
WWE.
be clever. But
I'm
yeah,
offended for
they're not.
Bron.
They aren't that clever.
Nope. I'm offended for Bronson because like Theory ain't beat
Yeah.
nobody up for him.
Yeah, he was like, I don't even know him. Like, I only joined the group yesterday. Like, they shouldn't get any more members. You're right about that. Lyra and Bailey beat Judgment Day in a rough match. LA Knight showed up talking about the King of the Ring. Well, I mean, when's that? Jimmy Uso interrupted a promo, says he had a lot of respect for Knight and claimed that if the Megastar wins King of the Ring, he will get a fair shot at Reigns. All right. Rey Mysterio beat Rusev to earn a shot at Penta. And then the contract signing, Fatu wasted no time putting pen to paper for the Tribal Combat main event. Reigns made his way to the ring, signed on the dotted line, and ordered Pierce and Scooty from the squared circle. He reminded the world of the consequences if Reigns loses. He will acknowledge Fatu. If not, the Samoan Werewolf has to serve the head of the table. Monty, we've spoken a lot about Fatu and Reigns, not only on this one, but on the last WWE pod as well. But have you noticed the kind of control he has got over Adam Pearce? I know LA Knight did mention it, but Adam Pearce is his lackey at this moment in time.
Yeah, and I keep trying to see. I was having conversation with people, family members who love the bloodline, by the way, and asking them like genuinely, what's different? Like I know the people like Rome. I know we're supposed to like Roman now, but like if you remember when he was on SmackDown, I don't even forgot who the damn general manager was supposed to be before Nick Aldis stepped up. But he ran that when he was champion there. It's like the character for Roman hasn't changed. The people's reaction to him has. I think he may cheat a little bit less overtly, but like you guys saw when they jumped Jacob, that wasn't that felt more like the old bloodline. So it's just like what's really different about this? And that's like my only concern when as I'm watching it. Like other than the fact that we're using Jacob now to be the guy instead of like doing this to the Usos immediately or something like this. So again, Roman is Roman. I think that's what people may like about it is the fact that he hasn't changed much, and like the scenarios have kind of changed. But yeah, I don't know what Adam Pearce is kind of there for in this scenario because like it's like his power can only go so far. Like he can bully the other heels and like whenever some other heel do something, he feels like an authority figure, but he just cowers when it comes to Roman. And again, I guess we all just kind of be like, well, it's Roman, so the rules don't apply, right? But yeah, so I guess that's kind of the reality we gotta accept. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't, we can talk about it maybe more when we get to the match. But like as far as this whole bill go and getting to the tribal combat thing, a scenario, the further and further into the feud we've kind of gotten, and I look at like where the Usos did. Like we got Jay Uso, who was like literally holding the belt Roman got last year, and like Jacob has kind of threw him aside twice easily, like he was nothing. And like Jacob is taking out the whole faction by itself. And then we're gonna have a scenario where he could potentially end up because of this match following them now. And I'm just like, okay, so we're just remaking the bloodline. What's gonna be different this time? How are they gonna maintain faces to be face if they're gonna be face? Or are they just gonna redo what we did on SmackDown? That was 3 years ago, guy. I know it may not feel like it, but that was 3 years ago. So are we just harping on the same thing? Like how long, how many legs do we really think this Bloodline 2.0 thing really got? Because I know me personally, as invested as I was the initial storyline, I'm way less invested in this one. And I love Jacob, and I would love Jacob to get a lot more prominence, but and I like how they're depicting him. It's just the end game here is what I'm wondering, but we can get to that later.
Yeah. But like I said, with WWE, it's one step forward, two steps back. Even
Yeah.
looking at the Clash card overall, with you got Lynch versus Soul, which is a rematch from Saturday night's main event that
Mm-hmm.
we had. Oba versus Brock, which is a rematch from WrestleMania.
Yep.
Ripley versus Cargill, which is a rematch from WrestleMania, and Fatu versus Reigns, which is a rematch from Backlash. So are we are we really going
Yep.
anywhere? I'm loving it, guys. People listening though, do you know what I mean? I'm so invested. All right, we're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
we're gonna do it.
Good shit. This is good shit.
SmackDown, May 29th. Cargill made her way to the ring with Meechin and B-Fab. Cargill said nobody in the locker room likes her. Flair and the Bliss came out to agree. This led to Aldis booking Cargill versus Bliss, which Jade won. The number one contender hit more Jaded on a chair after the match was over. Axiom looked like a star in his annual home country match, and he actually beat The Miz thanks to some dodgy lighting. R-Truth is still injured, but again, who cares about the tag team division? Royce Key teams with Priest to face Tama and Tala, with Solo attacking Priest behind the referee's back, which paved the way for Tala for the chokeslam to win. And please, MFT, just stop it. Sami Zayn's story of being the only good guy led to an argument with Cody in a match against Matt Cardona. Zayn nailed a haluva kick for the win. Sami's ride or die fans are still around. The King and Queen of the Ring was officially announced. And then Little Yachty and Trick came to the ring for a promo. Yachty called himself the man with the money and the one with the connections to make things happen. The United States champion declared his intention to enter the King of the Ring tournament, which led to Carmelo Hayes coming to join him. They talked trash before Ricky Saints made his way to the ring. Say he was coming for the US title after he was done with Melo. This led to Melo versus Ricky, which unfortunately ended in a double count out. Hayes was a second too late making it back. Saints tried to keep fighting, but Hayes hit the first 48 to send him packing. And finally, Gina, finally I get to ask you, I don't think I have, thoughts on Ricky Saints here in WWE on SmackDown with this feud at the moment with kind of Melo and Trick, I suppose.
I mean, in the nicest way possible, and we all know that I was kind of obsessed with him for
You
a
were the
little
biggest stuff.
You
Really
said
little while.
was. Oh my goodness.
Oh my word! Like, yeah, what's happened? Come on.
I do kind of forget about him when he's not on screen, you know? Again, I know that he's been on NXT more, but I wasn't even watching him in that. So, for me, it is just seeing him since coming up on this main roster, and right now he's just inserting himself wherever he can. That's how I see it. I don't think that it's bad per se because he's getting the screen time, but he is taking the L's at the moment. But I suppose, you know, they can only keep giving all the new call ups all the wins. So some of them got to take the L's. Right now, Ricky Saints is that. But I do think that he still has that great persona and charm and character to keep coming back. Like I said about Ethan Page earlier as well, I think he's a very charismatic and can keep coming back on the screens and sprouting shit and getting himself into a match, even if he's taken the L.
Oh, I'm surprised. I mean, I've got to mention Drew McIntyre because I'm probably not going to mention him elsewhere. I just want to show that I still love him, even though he's not on TV. You know, like my love doesn't fade. But
Yeah,
that's
my love can swap.
yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Chelsea Green versus Nia Jax was next. Green tried to recruit Tiffany Stratton to be in a corner, but the US champ didn't seem interested. Tiffy did have a run-in with Nia Jax and Lash Legend that seemed to change her mind, and her music proved a distraction. Jax with her title behind the ref's back, allowing Green to get the pin and the win. Thanks for the help. And then the final segment of the night was a face-to-face meet between Rhodes and Gunter ahead of their match. They had a good verbal exchange to sell the showdown. I mean, Rose was strong in this segment, but I mean, Jax, is it fair to say this was a dog shit show with a hot crowd? You know, like
Yeah.
the crowd are
No,
just.
hands down. The crowd did their best to hype this up, but even from sort of like just being an online viewer, I was like, "What are you hyping up right now, bros? Seriously, what?" Like, I mean, even sort of this face to face with Cody, like, you know, again, I can't put it past Cody. He gives a good promo. He can draw people in with his words. He's great at that, you know. Um, I don't know. It just feels lackluster for me, you know, putting Gunther in this position. Again, I think we'll talk further into this, but you know, there is a lot of discussion about, you know, him being labeled like a legend killer and things like that, and we'll discuss more. But it's like, you know, so if he's being pitted as this, why would you put him in this promotion already with, you know, someone like Cody? That was like my main question was why is it he like the next opponent for Cody? I feel like there could have been others. It didn't necessarily need to be Gunther in this position. So yeah, this kind of this whole show, this whole SmackDown show, kind of just fell flat and was lackluster for me.
It's almost like they put a European there, you know what I mean, in the main event of the European tour, just for that.
Yeah, yeah, just for that, you know, like they couldn't think of any other European they might have on their roster, you know, sitting in Kingston. No,
Yeah.
of course not.
Anyway, on to May 30th, and it was Triple A, Noche de los Grandes, night one. Yes, you didn't know I was a cunning linguist. I can speak Spanish as well as Italian. The match results: the Triple A World Cruiserweight Championship, Ray Phoenix defeated Laredo Kid. Triple A Latin American Championship, El Hijo del Vikingo defeated El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. The Triple A World Tag Team Champions, War Raiders, Eric and Iver defeated Pagano and Cycle Clown. And at the end, we saw Psycho Pagano have problems, you know. And then we got to the main event. Before I talk about the main event, Monty, I thought the undercard was excellent as well. You know, I know a lot of people talk about the main event, but I don't know if you saw the matches, but they just started strong and just didn't stop, you know?
Yeah, I mean the main event just had a lot of hype too. You know, I think like if I'm recalling right, I don't know Spanish, but I'm assuming isn't the main event, the whole event is kind of named out around the main event in a sense, right? So it's like it's one of those shows that's definitely tied to that. That's just how good that build was. But yeah, I think like you're 100% right. They built a good show overall, even for people like me who kind of I clock in and out when it comes to them because I just don't have the time to watch all of it. You still was like, I still was impressed with the card they put together. You know, like I said, this is definitely an important show for them. And if you listen to the way the crowd was, you know, throughout the night, I think it did good business for them too in that regard too. You know, so
Yeah, without a doubt. But
yeah,
yeah, like you said, the main event, Mars versus Mars, El Grande Americano defeating the original Grande Americano in a bloody battle. I mean, true to his word, the original removed his mask and revealed himself to be Chad Gable, but his humility afterwards surprised everybody. He said tonight could not overcome the Mexican spirit, a humble Gable admitted. And from the moment he arrived, Gable wasn't just fighting El Grande Americano, he was fighting the entire arena. I mean, even the help with Los Credos, which was a mask, Julius and Brutus, he was outnumbered. We saw Ray and Bravo even the odds, leading to a 15-foot balcony dive from Bravo that wiped out Los Credos. Pimpinella Scatala, who Gable had violently assaulted months earlier,
yep.
seemingly knocked Gable unconscious with a guitar shot. Andrea Bazata, AAA announcer and Grande's girlfriend, have been forced to give up a job as a condition the match arrived and led to a Cici Pleda or Yes You Can chant. And then they were the fans, which it just led to an incredible hour of professional wrestling. I want to get everybody's thoughts on this, but I mean, Gina, again, it seems weird that the two El Grande, you know what I mean? The gimmick itself, I laughed and shit all over it, but it delivered an absolute classic between these two men.
The fact that something that started off so just fun and cover up due to injury and going off, and it grew to this much of a big feud is just insane. It's crazy, and it just shows you that if you put in the dedication to a simple storyline and let it brew and grow, this is what you can get out of it. So it definitely was worth the whole rivalry for sure because it made you just invested in both guys.
Yeah, I mean, and Jax, were you surprised it was Chad Gable? You know, I don't know what you like.
Yeah, no, surprisingly not. I wasn't surprised, you know. This is a shock for me. This was not a shock for me. Um, but it was an incredible match. I think that is one that everyone should go and watch. I feel like the stakes were really heightened, and it's everything that they did on Triple A, and not just a contribution from what they created from WWE, but it was the continuation within Triple A that built it to what it was. So this was just an incredible match, and probably the best that either man have looked in the ring against one another.
Yeah, and again, Monty, it was for me. You know, the match, it's but the whole presentation, like I said, the call, everything that you love about professional wrestling was kind of fitted in this match somehow. You know.
Yeah, and I've seen different generations of wrestling fans have an appreciation for it. Like even people like for example Jim Cornette who don't really like a lot of modern wrestling. Or he loves to shit on a lot of modern wrestling, like even AEW or whatever. And you know, he was even like very positive on this match from an old school perspective. And not just AEW, it's just on WWE too, but Cornette shits on a lot. But my point is, is that I saw different generations of wrestling fans have different varying appreciations of it, and I think like you mentioned to kind of go from where we were with both of these gimmicks and how it just kind of became a mess, and how even with the Creed Bros or like Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, and just how much frustration or annoyance we kind of had to kind of see them have to be relegated to this gimmick. And I think we from I think what Chad we know Chad and and Kaiser are really really good wrestlers, but like I think to show like to what level of good wrestlers they are is that you can suspend all that disbelief and how ridiculous it is uh that they're here in this moment in this gimmick, but that the way that crowd react to Grande Americano. I mean, Kaiser has like ingratiated himself with those people in a major way with this gimmick to the point to where now something that like you mentioned was like a joke. I feel like they would be out of their mind for Dominic to survive a title match with this guy. Like at this point, like I think if Dominic was to like beat him in a title match for the AAA belt, they were right. That's how much they seem to love this love that in his rendition of El Grande Americano. And like even Chad, we know how great he is, but for them to not only go in this match and do that and like tell the story, I thought the drama of it felt very old school to me. And like you said, the involvement with Kaiser's real life partner and all of that, and just the just like all of it, it was a match versus match, but this felt like one of those things I read about in the past because I never really watched the match versus match of the past, and like, but they always kind of get a reputation. They got a reputation for being this type of spectacle, kind of blurring the lines of like pro wrestling and like legit physicality with the drama of a telenovela in a sense. So just like, and that's what this kind of felt like. And I think it's just very cool. And like, I really don't understand how Triple H PR and went from as good as it used to be to how bad it seems to be now, to the point to where I'm like, is Shawn and Undertaker better bookers than him by this much? Like, this don't make sense. Like for Undertaker to turn something that Triple H had us like scoffing at, and Undertaker got a whole country down in Mexico, and anybody else who's seen it, who caught it live, I mean caught it, through the internet, it got them all compelled by these gimmicks that, like I said, we just rolled our eyes at for the longest too. And of course, it's a credit to Gable and a credit to Kaiser because again, they're great wrestlers. And at the end of the day, this proves that even some of the shittiest gimmicks, if you're a good enough wrestler and you can buy into it and make it your own, you can do that. But like even like you said, I love the direction currently where they seem like be going post this with Gable and him kind of being humbled and understanding what it means to carry the mantle of that mask and what this could mean for his character in the future. I'm optimistic about, but I think Kaiser and Gable deserve the world, and like Pete Dunne apparently was an agent for that match. 'Cause I think he deserves more credit and love for help putting that match together. I just think everybody involved and like Undertaker, like I said, whoever calling the shots down in AAA, they all got to tip their cap because I think this is a really good piece of business for them. And I think you never know. I think now because I think what's next seemingly might be next up is like I said, Kaiser or Grande Americano might be heading towards challenging for the AAA World title, which I think Dominic still has. That might have way more eyeballs on it than it would have had without this dramatic feud now, because I think at this point El Grande has kind of made AAA heels.
Yeah, without a doubt. And even that, I think that is the kind of room match for the next big show, as we say, is going to be Dom versus
Yeah, Triple
El
Mania, I
Grande
think.
Americano Triple Mania, yeah, in Vegas. So, that'll be interesting to see what else, because, like I said, Vegas, is the wrestling capital of the world at the moment.
Uh,
But we'll carry on, and we're here for the Clash. So, May 31st, we've got Clash in Italy kickoff. Turin, that is in Italy. Joe Tess, Big E, Corey Gray, Sam Robertsberg, and then backstage, Byron Saxon and Catherine Kelly. We've got to sit down with Cody, and Cody says he's lucky, but he's addicted. addicted to the top. And it was 10 years since his firing. I mean, Gina, does it seem like 10 years ago Cody was fired? I suppose it does, really, doesn't it? You know, in a way.
Yeah,
But he's come
it
back
does
probably about
feel
four
like a
years ago.
while away. So when he says 10 years, it's kind of like, sounds about right.
I mean, he's been back about four now, hasn't he, really? So, it's like, yeah, no, I suppose. Graves sit down with Lynch. Becky calls Sol Ruka Sol Rookie, and Sol joins the panel. She said she was cleared that day, but only wrestling 4 years. So, Jaxie, it means you've been doing the podcast longer than Sol Ruka's been wrestling.
Yeah, this doesn't surprise me somehow. I mean, we've seen kind of, the is it LFG? Is that what it's called? Um, and so and even Alexa Bliss, I think, started and got in really early. So I'm not even surprised by this.
Or Liv Morgan joined the panel after because, why would you want her wrestling? She is women's champion, if anybody has forgotten. We got a Wade sit down with Gunter, and he wants to even the score with Cody. Joe Tess and Biggie move indoors with Javon joining them. We got a nice video of Bruno Sammartino, of course, an Italian legend in WWE. And Triple H interviewed, he says Roman Fatu is the biggest match on the card. Main show, and do you know what? I've actually been to Turin, and it is beautiful. And I went to the Stadio degli Alpi and watched Torino play in Serie A. You see, I don't talk much, but that was a sentence. First match was the undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Gunter. The action went back and forth early with each man trading blows and neither be able to gain a sustained advantage. At one point, the champion delivered a pedigree to no avail, and the challenger answered moments later with a powerbomb that also failed to net him the win. Gunter kicked out the crossroads as Michael Cole questioned whether it's too early for the American Nightmare to try to put his opponent away. Rhodes followed with a Cody Cutter attempt, but Gunter caught him with a sleeper. The champion rolled into roll up for two. The ring general reapplied the sleeper, rolled over, put his full body weight on top of Rhodes, but the babyface showed grit and determination fighting out of it. However, the relentless Villain reapplied the hold, forcing the champion to look for the ropes for the sanctuary of the break. Then we got exchange of chops and clotheslines, a Cody Cutter across Rhodes that earned the champion the victory, despite a controversial finish that saw the official miss Gunter's foot under the bottom rope. Monty, what are your thoughts on this?
Ass. No. Uh, it wasn't bad. It wasn't ass. I'm being harsh. I think I was just let down. I think I think like you mentioned earlier, James, this is the freshest match we fucking had on this card. Like the one that's supposed to feel like the most intriguing in my opinion. And I just felt like it just happened, and it just felt like for something that's supposed to be for the undisputed title, and we have somebody like Gunther in it, and we have Cody who is you can argue about it, but he probably is the best, or at least second or third best wrestler in the entire company. And and he got the world title. That's supposed to mean he is the best. And it just felt like a match, and it started the show. And I'm not saying placement it makes sense, but I've seen placement matches start. I've seen title matches that started the show that really got you amped up. I don't know why, and it wasn't just the finish, because like I kind of figured it would be some type of BS with the finish, because like I don't think, just based on the few we've gotten so far, I didn't think this would be a culmination. I felt like we still had a ways to go with him and Gunther, and like even coming into this, I was kind of thinking to myself, should Gunther win, because I feel like Cody, if they're gonna keep waiting to pull a trigger for some type of character switch, then it feels like we're just gonna be running in place with Cody. Yeah, I think that's one of my issues right now with Cody's run, is that since after the Randy Orton stuff, it just felt like we still running in place, and even with a fresh opponent with Gunther, it still don't feel any more unique. So I was really disappointed, in my opinion, that I didn't come away from this match wowed by either the wrestling or anything that they even tried to do in it. It kind of felt rushed, and then when you come back and you look and you find out, oh wow, this was a 10-minute world title match that started the show, and it didn't wow anybody, or it didn't really do anything unique. Uh, I'm not saying they didn't. I thought they still worked a solid to a good match, but I just think for a world title, most important belt, and for guys that we look at as two of the best in the world, they deserve better than this, in my opinion. Even if it's a placeholder match, I prefer it to be way more compelling than this.
Yeah, without a doubt. You make an excellent point now. And Gina, it's true, isn't it? I mean, I'm not sure why this was only over 10 minutes. I mean, are they just saving it for the rematch? Is that how little they care? Like, we'll give you longer later.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with Monty. This just wasn't it for me. This probably will be my lowest ranked match on the match card or one of them. But I just wasn't into it. I wasn't sold. I didn't think Cody was going to lose it here because I didn't feel like they built up the feud between him and Gunther enough. But like you said, with it being just even 10 minutes, it's like were you just always holding out for that second match to build it? And why is it always got to be done in a series of two or three matches? Like, yeah, it's a bit exhausting, and I kind of was a little bit checked out for the beginning of the show in this match.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the crowd was hot and into comfort, but again, Jaxie, it's a little bit strange when the thing that impressed me the most about this opening, like, 20 minutes was that Corey Graves was on commentary instead of Wade. And Corey was in Mexico the previous night. And I was like, that's some travel he's getting under his belt.
You know what? I hadn't even realized that either. Like put two and two together that Corey had obviously been in Mexico the night before. It didn't really register until you just said.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't really have much to add if I'm honest. I feel like this is like the type of match that you would just get on a SmackDown to fill time, but also to present like your champion being a fighting champion on a SmackDown. Like there was nothing special to this match. And again, it goes back to what I originally was saying that, this is who you want to be built up to be your legend killer. Or, there's a lot of like rumors about Brock being forced to come back so that he would actually have his retirement match against Gunther. But then, like, look how easily you're just kind of like flattening Gunther here. So it just, this made no sense to me as to why this match was even taking place. I would have just like for anyone else to fill that space. Give someone else a chance, but just kind of like not specifically like do this. Like you could even have, Rusev like just come and, challenge Cody and chat shit and just, have a quick feud with him over Gunther. But I just don't really feel like this did anything for Gunther. Even with them trying to, have this storyline of the ref missed his leg being under the ropes. It I, Again, it just feels like a regular cheap tactic that they use to protect wrestlers, and like you get over it at some point, and I'm already there. I'm already over it.
Well,
So
yeah.
yeah. No, what was your vote?
I was about to say the finishes, have been awful recently. And
Yeah.
even the way the camera was and the angle, let us see it
Hmm.
then, rather than having
Yeah.
to wait. Do you know what I mean? The commentators
Until
going, "Oh,
until
I
the
think something
replay.
happened." Then, yeah,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, because they didn't put it on the right angle, and then we didn't actually see, his leg until it actually went to the replay, and they showed it from a different angle. I think this is like something that we'll also discuss in another match a bit later, just with regards to bad timing and bad camera angling and bad moments being caught, and it's becoming a bit repetitive now.
yeah, I doubt. And it's still weird to see like scary movie plastered everywhere as well in the ring. um. Anyway, Cody has lost the title in Europe this year. That was when Drew McIntyre beat him for the WWE Championship. Oh, I guess I did mention Drew McIntyre. Out of five, then Monty, what would you give it?
I'll give it 3 3/4. Like I said, I don't think it was a horrible match. I just think it's underwhelming for what we're talking about a world title match, man. I think it needs to be better than just a match.
Yeah, without a doubt. Gina,
Three and a quarter.
Jaxie.
3.5.
And I'll give it a four. The WNR Prediction League. This is after Double or Nothing before the Clash WWE League. Jaxie Gina on three. I'm on two. Monty's on one. AEW. I'm on one. Monty Jackson two. Gina on three. And bonus. Jaxie's on eight. Gina's on 10. James and Monty tied on 12. Predictions for this one. We all went Cody, so we're all on one. WWE Women's Championship next, Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. And the challenger controlled early, preventing Ripley from building momentum by taking her down with a fall-away slam at ringside to a chorus of boos. Cargill leaned in a strength advantage, clubbing Mummy with forearms to the chest and then whipping her hard into the corner. And she maintained control, grounding Ripley and working a headlock. When the champion fought back to her feet, the Storm forced her back to the mat, but missed elbow drop and a foul charge in the corner allowed the Eradicator to mount her comeback. She broke out a missile dropkick, a razor's edge, and a shining wizard, but was unable to keep her opponent down as frustration and exhaustion set in. Cargill countered Riptide into a DDT, but the champion kicked out at two. A sit-down powerbomb followed by another near fall. Ripley recovered and followed up with a side superplex for a two-count of her own, with her face painted with disbelief. B-Fab and Charlotte Flair took turns breaking up pinfall attempts by putting the Allies' foot on the bottom rope, ensuring the match would continue. And the crowd's distraction allowed Ripley to catch Cargill with the second Riptide of the match for the win. Gina, I get your thoughts on this. I said it was a WrestleMania rematch, but what your thoughts? Because, man, I'm so impressed with Cargill.
Yeah, okay. The first thing I want to say about this match is me and Jaxie were screaming at the screen when B-Fab pretty much missed pulling her leg onto the rope. We were like, you had one job, B-Fab. And then
God,
Charlotte did the
honestly, it
same
stressed me
thing.
out.
Yeah, but
And did it
Charlotte
so
did the same
smoothly,
thing after, and
executed
we're like,
it so smoothly.
yeah, that's how you do it, B-Fab.
Like, watch
Jesus.
and learn. Honestly, it was
Yeah.
just like pitiful.
It was hard to watch. But either way, aside from that, this probably is one of Jay's best matches to date. She has improved so much, and I think this match really showcases that. It was so good. I think they were both evenly matched against each other, so they were both able to sort of go all out. And some of the counters they did was just really great. So for me, this was a great match. This is one of the ones that is worth watching on the match card. Um, like I said, Jade was great. The only thing I will say as well, I don't really know how I feel about how every match seems to have tomfoolery in it now, even if they are a part of a faction. I think I would have preferred this match if no one else just got involved and it just kept being Jade and Rhea squaring off until one of them got too exhausted that they couldn't kick out. You know, don't get me wrong, I do like the fact that Jade has this faction with BFAB and Michin now, but I just didn't think it was really needed in this match. But either way, Jade still looks really, really good. I wouldn't have been mad if she actually won the belt back, but I did think that Rhea was going to retain it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, excellent points there. And Jackson, this is the thing with Cargill now. She's getting better, so she just needs consistency rather than sitting in catering. She can't take time off now. Do you know what I mean? Even if she's not
Yeah.
a champion.
No, I think like she still has quite a strong momentum and flow right now. So I would just continue to keep pushing her in the picture. Like, doesn't even need to be consistently in the title picture, but just keep pushing her and what she can do. Again, I feel like her wrestling is getting much better, like you both have agreed. She pulled out some new moves throughout this match that I actually think really worked for her skill set. And I can just see how she is trying to improve herself within the ring week in, week out. So, regardless as to what the haters say, I do think that this was a good match. Whether or not we really did need all of the mess with BFAB and Michin and Charlotte coming out, again, like my sister said, not necessary. We really didn't need it, but it seems to be a common theme with WWE to have these sorts of things go on to make the matches more enticing. It's just it happens every single match at the moment. So you're just kind of waiting and expecting it to happen. So if we can kind of stick to like going back to original one-on-one matches and actually having it about the wrestling and not about, oh, okay, there's an excuse as to why this person lost. That actually might solidify a lot more of their wrestlers and what they can do in the ring. I think sometimes it can take away, you know,
Yeah.
from that. But yeah, it was overall, it was not bad the match.
But again, if we hadn't had the finish of the first match and this had happened, we'd probably been like, oh, okay. Do you know what I mean? But like you said, because it
Exactly,
is
exactly.
every fucking match.
It's a common theme like that's
Yeah.
happening. And so, I think at one point it was either myself or my sister that actually said before it happened, I'm just waiting for, Michin or BFAB to come out right now because like that is going to happen. And then we'll see we thought both Alexa and Charlotte. Turns out it was only Charlotte, but we were still right, you know. So we were just
Yeah.
waiting for that to happen.
Without a doubt. And again, Monty, like I said, the girls have made some excellent points. But one of the things that I thought was interesting as well, I don't know about you, was Liv just sitting in the crowd because Ripley is the real women's champion, it seems, right now. Why don't just unify it?
Yeah, I mean, if we get to the point where you can't use them, like I understand. And you know what the most frustrating thing about Liv being on the sideline about that, and like the rumor that we waiting on Stephanie, is like you mentioned, James. Like, what is the theme of this damn card? So we got her waiting on the sideline for a rematch instead of giving her someone fresh to just like to work with, and like she could be having a match on this card too. And like you said, so I don't. I thought the whole point, and maybe I'm wrong, and I've been wrong before, James. But I thought the whole point of having two sets of tag belts, two sets of women's titles,
Hmm.
two sets of women's mid card titles was because we were so deep in our divisions that we have multiple people that can challenge for things at any time. But if you look at all the sideline champions and champions who barely can get booked for a fucking match, I'm starting to think that maybe we have way too many belts, James. So yeah, it would be nice if they did, merge and it is annoying to just have Liv sitting there. And I know maybe I guess it's safe to assume that one day we'll revisit the Liv and Rhea because I guess they still have unfinished business. I thought that was over with. Give me one other reason why we gotta put Liv down, other than the fact that let's just give her some TV time because she ain't got nothing else going on. But yeah, so very, 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 very weird placement. But I agree with everything basically that was said about this. I think Jade and Ripley just got really good chemistry together. I think we've seen Jade work the best, even in the Mania match. We've seen her work the best with Rhea. So that leads me to be optimistic that I'm not sure that we're gonna get a trilogy out of this, or they probably put a little time in between it if they do. But I think Rhea has definitely been Jade's best fit for opponents, and I think it's because of versatility. There's not too many women who can be believably a threat to Rhea, and I think vice versa it goes with Jade. And most of the women are going to only be able to wrestle a certain type of way with Jade, but like people like Rhea can actually match their strength, be a little bit more believable. They can be a little bit more physical with each other. So again, I think that's kind of why it works out the way it works. And yeah, I do think so far, even if you go back to the first match, the involvement of other people have kind of taken away. And I think it makes sense from a storytelling standpoint, but I just think if you look at the actual quality of the wrestling match, the reason why no one wants Charlotte or anyone else to get involved in this is because the actual wrestling between these two have been so smooth and so good. They just kind of wish they can just go out there and prove who the best without any interruption. But other than that, I don't really think you can say too much bad about this. I think if you are, you probably just being hypercritical. I thought it was a really good match, and you know, I hope Jade can find her way back to the world title. I don't know when or how soon that will be, but I do believe Jade is proven, which is kind of funny. They gave her the belt and she barely fought with it, so she couldn't prove that she was worthy. But in one feud with somebody like Rhea Ripley, it already seemed like Jade was in the right position holding that belt because she seems like she is capable of having competitive matches consistent. Like you said, James, it's just all about putting her in that situation.
Yeah, without a doubt. Out of five, then Gina, what would you give it?
I'll give it a 4.25.
Want to call it Jax?
I'll give this a four.
Monty?
Yeah, four.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.5. Predictions all Rhea, so we're all on two. Up next was Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar, and they've all entered to a camera-shaking ovation in what felt like the final moments for a Titanic main event level matchup. Lesnar attacked before the opening bell, bull rushing the former NXT champion and delivering an F5. He added a second and then a third. Oh, and then a fourth. He covered, but Femi kicked out, much to the disbelief of the beast incarnate. Lesnar applied the Kimura, but Femi fought out and slammed him into the mat, forcing him to break the hold. Larula tried for a chokeslam, but Hill escaped and delivered a fifth F5, only for Oba to kick out again. The Beast kicked out of a chokeslam before the action spilled to the floor. Lesnar delivered an F5 through the announce table. Femi stood up, showing no ill effects of the bump, and re-entered the ring where he manhandled Brock. But one last F5, 7 in total, felled Femi and earned Lesnar the win. Jaxie, what were your thoughts?
Okay, well, what I will say is that uh this match did, I was worried that this match was going to make Oba look weak, and I don't necessarily think that after it took Brock 7 F5s, including one of them going through the announce table, and not only that, but also wearing down Oba's arm to really just even get a pin on him. Um, but my thoughts really very much are in alignment with what Monty mentioned earlier regarding Brock and Oba. Like, we all know that Triple H and WWE love their, bouts of three. And the moment that we had seen Brock turn up and take out Oba on Raw to let him know that this was not over, we just knew this was going to be about a three. And it was only gonna be a match of three if Brock got the win here. So as much as I'm really just like not pleased that Oba took the L here, uh, I also am not mad at like the match itself because I don't think it necessarily made him look weak.
Yeah, but for me, it's just one step forward, two steps back all the time. Like I
It
said,
is. It is exactly. Like, I think this was necessary? No, Brock should have stayed gone. This would have really just like continued to sort of hypen everything around Oba. I think at this point, Oba had still been undefeated, so now Brock has kind of like already ruined that streak, and it's kind of like, was this necessary? No, it wasn't. I hope that in round three, Oba puts him down for good, and that's it. That's the only reason why that this could actually be like work for Oba at this point. If not, then what are you doing, WWE? You literally had like gold with this man. So I guess the one thing I did like is like what Oba said at the end of the match as well. Um, Straight away he already was letting us know like this ain't over, this ain't the end of it. Um, it made him look strong still. It was just not necessary.
yeah. I mean, again, like, I know you said Obi didn't look weak as such, but I'm just sick of the same. Once I've seen a Brock Lesnar match, I've seen them all. You know what I mean? And it's just the kind of the same thing that he was either doing with Roman or something like. I mean, Monty, I know I'm negative. I'm probably not going to help coming to you now on this one, but it's just with Brock. I thought we were done, and it's just like, okay, right now we're gonna have to wait, and then hopefully, Oba gets well. Oba will fucking get the win. If he doesn't, then I'll leave. You know what I mean? That's, oh.
Yeah, don't even bring that scenario up. Uh, yeah, I mean, you was 100% right about coming to me being the wrong idea because uh I was just very indifferent about all of this. I mean, I think that's the thing. I mean, it'll be different if Brock was coming back to do something unique with over and like actually like they were gonna try something. But like you said, the writing was on the wall, not only with the result but with the process. Like I think we already know that Brock is only capable of a finisher fist in a sense. And I think that's what made that our first match so cool is because even though we probably, it didn't end up just being a Goldberg, Brock Lesnar finisher fest. It, like Oba dominated, and it was cool to see Brock on the receiving end of it. But again, you can look at it if you want to be optimistic. You can say, yeah, oh, it took 7 F5s, and Oba went through the table and got up, and look how much it took. But if you've seen, like you said, if you've seen Brock Lesnar any number of times, when he's feuded with different guys at different times, he always have at least one match like this, and where it takes 30 fucking finishes for Brock to come out on top. And it's just again, it just depends on your investment. Like as somebody who as despite him who he is personally, I do have a little bit of respect for Brock because I've been here for his whole entire run, at least professionally. But even as somebody like me, like you said, I told y'all when he first came back, I think we've already done everything that we could do. And I don't think that's the problem I got the most with this is that this doesn't add anything for Brock. It doesn't even this obviously in my opinion doesn't really don't really do much to Oba because I think it's more than one way to show us that Oba is a tough SOB and I don't think this match does that. And then even something they did in this match, as cool as it was to see Oba stand up, what they did in that table spot, I think I even saw AJ Styles mention it in like an interview or something. But like what they did in this table spot kind of affects, in my opinion, the match in the main event because that's an actual no rules match, and you taking away something that could have been unique for Roman them. And I'm not saying that Roman them need, but you don't. This is just a regular singles match,
Mm.
and you're doing that spot to just try to put over how tough Oba was. Which again, like you said, I'm not saying it wasn't a cool idea. I'm just saying, like you said, I came away from this despite all of that, despite your efforts a match shouldn't be what can they do to actually make me care. And I think that's the problem that I have with all of this. I don't want to go into a wrestling match and I'm just saying, well, let's see if they can do something to make me, be invested in this instead of feeling like it is what it is. And nothing in that 6 minutes, in my opinion, did anything for me that made me feel like I should care any more about this than any other match Brock has had.
Yeah. And I think this is the thing. And Gina, there was a moment in the match, like I said, Oba got up from the announce table, he went into the ring, and he picked Brock up, from the fall from grace or wherever it is. Brock reversed into the F5. If Oba had reversed the F5, hit a fall from grace, and then pinned Brock, would have anything changed Brock's side of things? As in, would the crowd have been like, "Oh, Brock's weaker now," or would it have made the story even better that Ober's beaten him twice in a row, and Brock's like, "I need that third match because I need to beat you. Like, I can't go anywhere." Or is that just wishful thinking? You know, like-
I mean, I don't know. At this point, because Brock is becoming a bit of a one-trick pony, it does feel like always just wishful thinking, regardless as to whether Brock got the win or Oba got the win. Like, I still think the result would have come into the same way, you know? So, it- yeah, I am a bit in two minds. I'm similar to how both my sister and Monty are feeling in terms of I don't necessarily think this match should have happened. I think they should have just left it when he took off his damn boots. And if they wanted Brock to come back and still fight Gunther, then just start doing promos of Gunther calling Brock out and like making fun of him for leaving the boots in the ring or something and reignite Brock to come back. But they should have just left it dead and buried with Oba and him. I don't think it was necessary to have to do this. And Brock is a one-trick pony to me. For me, when I was watching this match and I saw him have to dish out F5 after F5, and even you said it, James, he has quite a few matches where he does just bash out his finisher move a countless times to get that win. Is that all you know how to do, Brock? Do you not know how to do anything else? It seems clear that it is. And so what would this actually do for you career wise to get a win over Oba? Even if you go to this third match and Brock gets the win, what are you going to do now? What, go on to get the main title belt again? Like, as Monty just said, I don't even think it was necessary for Brock to even come back. There's not really anything for him to achieve. Um, Unless he's going to sit there and happily put people over, it's pointless to me, regardless as to of the outcome. And if anything, he should just be pushing Oba.
Yeah, and I think the thing that frustrates me about Brock Lesnar, and again, I understand people that watch his career and people, respect him and everything, but I saw the Brock in like 2003. You know what I mean? When he was an actual really good worker, and then when he came back in 2012, 2013, it was this Brock, and this is what we've had, and I don't like this Brock as much. Again, that's my problem. Not everybody else. Everybody else but might love Lesnar. And the European crowd did because this was the first time as well since 2002 Brock Lesnar has had a match in Europe, which just shows you fucking how much he cares, I suppose. Scores out of 5 then. Jaxie, what would you give it?
I'm just gonna give it a 3.
Give it a 3. Fair enough. Monty?
Uh, 3 1/4.
Yeah, Gina?
Yeah, I'll go 3.25 as well.
I'll give it 3 and 3/4 predictions. We went Brock, so went 3. I tell you something that I really enjoyed. Santino in the crowd was a great callback. Let's not forget about the Milan Miracle back in the day. He's not even Italian, but the reception that he got was brilliant. Anyway, up next, Women's Intercontinental Championship, Sol Ruka versus Becky Lynch. And Ruka utilized her athleticism and created offensive arsenal to keep big time Bex off guard early. Lynch turned the tide low and worked over her opponent using her own momentum as the fight spilled to the arena floor. Back in the ring, the competitors threw uppercuts, and Ruka leaned on her speed to quicken the pace and put Lynch on the defensive. A missile dropkick sent the champion across the ring, and a running knee earned the challenger a near fall. Ruka tried for the soul snatcher, but the man caught her in a disarmer. Babyface countered out and into an STF. Counters and reversals continued until Jess Carr was forced to jump out of the ring to avoid a collision. The inevitable conversation with Lynch followed, allowing Ruka to fight her way back in the match. Ruka delivered an X Factor from the top rope. The champ kicked out at 2. Lynch cut off the momentum, shoving Jess Carr into the ropes, which caused the challenger to lose their balance. But it did not matter, though, as the Babyface blocked a DDT by getting the hands up, rocking Lynch with a super kick. And then Ruka hit the Soul Snatcher and became your new women's intercontinental champion. Wow. Monty, what were your thoughts on this?
I was this one this was solid. I was happy for Soul because I felt like this kind of a lot of that stuff I was talking about earlier about her, the way her momentum and just how things just didn't seem to be going good for her. I thought this was actually something that she can build off of and from. And I don't think her and Becky have the greatest chemistry, or I don't think this was the greatest match. But I think out of every time they've done something, this is by far the smoothest and some of the best work that she's been able to kind of put together on the main roster so far. So it's kind of fitting that it would happen in a big title match. And I was kind of curious. I didn't know. I was definitely curious to see if WWE trusted her enough with a lot of the stuff not really going her way. That they would they still trust her enough to give her this spot from Becky? But I do believe, kind of like similar to like what kind of happened with Maxine, they at least trust Becky enough that even if this is a short title run for Saul Ruka or a long term, that they probably feel like Becky can still make Saul Ruka more of a star. I do think I do wonder, like, is the goal to keep Sol Ruka with it, and she's just gonna take off with it now, or is Becky gonna come back and get it again, and Becky will end up being like, I think isn't it like Jericho? I think Miz might be the most reigns for the IC belts now, but either way it go, Becky is gonna be. I wonder, are they gonna just keep letting Becky collect it back, and she be like a 13-time Intercontinental champion before she's done? With the passing it around, but. It'd be interesting either way, but like I was happy for Soul because I do think this actually went as planned and felt more like an actual match, and things went a little bit more smoothly for her. And I think she had, like I said, I've been saying this the whole time. She definitely has the potential to be a prominent fixture, but like she's even mentioned in other interviews, she got holes in her game that hopefully with time she'll be able to kind of work out and get better at. And I think working with people like Becky and working with more of the roster now because I don't know if this might not be the end. I don't know if y'all feel like this is the end for the Becky feud, but I don't know. But either way it go, I know Sal Ruker is kind of like we mentioned with Jay. She needs to be in the ring as much as possible, and hopefully with the IC belt, she's not just a sideline champion. She actually gets a chance to run with it and fight different people.
Yeah, without a doubt. Because a lot of people accused Becky, Gina, do you remember the Becky Hogan stuff? And Becky not putting anybody over. But now she's put over Lyra, AJ Lee, Maxine Dupree, and Sol Ruka. But I do hope Sol has a better reign than the women I've just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, Becky has had good matches with each of them, and so you can't really say that she doesn't put people over. But yeah, in my opinion, if they're going to give this to Sol, then please at least let her have a decent run more than the previous ladies we just mentioned.
Yeah, without a doubt. WWE got to work on their finishes. Jaxie, I don't want to keep coming to you, repeat myself, but literally, WWE got to work on their finishes. How is Jeff Scarl still refereeing her matches? I just don't know. But again, this wasn't bad, and it was nice to see Soul given a chance.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is very much kind of what we are seeing across the board with the men's sort of like IC and US belts when it comes to the likes of like Ilya Dragunov and Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes, them all getting that opportunity and that shot and it actually, sort of elevating them. And that is exactly what they need to continue to do with the IC title. As you said, it kind of hasn't worked when it comes to previous title holders. But hopefully, as Monty said, if they keep putting Soul in that ring and keep working her and she keeps working hard for it, I do think, this could be another um, potentially successful sort of push for a new younger face to sort of like help bring the division to where it needs to be, especially when it comes to the IC run. Becky's done all she can at the moment, so now let's see what Soul can do.
Yeah, without a doubt. So out of 5, then Monty, what would you give it?
This I give it 3.5.
3.5. Gina
3 3/4.
and Jaxie.
I gave this 3.5 too.
Yeah, I gave it 4.25. Predictions, I went Lynch, the rest went Soul. So I'm on 3, the rest are on 4. For fuck sake, I just might not do predictions anymore. The main event, tribal combat for the World Heavyweight Championship, Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns. And it didn't take long for the action to spill out of the ring and into the crowd. The combatants pummeled each other around the arena before Reigns sent Fatu into the ring steps and seized control of the match. The Smoking Werewolf fired up following an ineffective kick to the head by the OTC and built momentum, but an ill-fated pop-up low resulted in Reigns catching him with a Superman punch for 2. A second halted another for 2 offense as he actually returned to the floor. Reigns pulled a toolbox out from underneath the ring and repeatedly bashed his opponent's right hand with it in an attempt to take away the dreaded Tongan death grip. When the challenger attempted to drive the champion through the guardrail, Reigns caught him with a Superman punch, then added a spear through a different guardrail. Back in the ring, he delivered a spear, but Fatu kicked out before 3. I do this because I love you guys, Frank said, embracing his inner gaslight and then exposing the corner turnbuckle in defiance of claims he needed one to win at Backlash. Fatu capitalised on his cousin's hubris and delivered a spear of his own. The challenger delivered a moonsault and made the cover, only for the champion to deliver a low blow during his kick out, a la the tribal chief of years gone by. Reigns recovered, repeatedly slammed his cousin's face first into exposed turnbuckle and speared Fatu through a table in the corner. One final spear earned the OTC the win. And after the matches, Reigns, the Usos, and Fatu exited the ring. Solo Sikoa, Talatonga, and Tamatonga appeared in the crowd. Not the MFTs, please, no. Gina, what were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I thought this was a good match. I think Roman and Jacob really got the crowd hyped and into it. They were all loud throughout the whole of the match, so there was no real sort of dead bits or quiet spells. Um I'm laughing at you crying at the MFTs because yeah, it just why are you turning up? Why are they turning up at the end there? Like that it don't know. It just made no sense, and yeah, the MFTs is just really not working for me. But regardless, I think Roman and Jacob had good chemistry. They put on a great match, and it did feel like it had the higher stakes of it being a tribal combat match. With how hard they went with against each other. I'm not surprised by the outcome, but I am curious as to how it's going to be going forward because after Jacob lost the first match, it's like he didn't want to accept it and he didn't want to bend the knee to Roman, So now it's like, are you going to be willing to do that? So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Jacob reacts to losing the tribal combat match. But I thought it was still interesting. It was still a good match. Um, yeah, it did what it had to do, I guess.
But again, as you said, you make an excellent point. It made me quite laugh, because Fatu got pinned, and then afterwards he just gets up, going, just joins the tribal chief and the Usos like nothing happened. Like, well, I've got no choice now, guys. You know what I mean? One's in the
Yeah,
air and all that
like
stuff.
you didn't just disrespect Roman for a couple of weeks by using their own family move against each other, which they say is a big no-no. And now he's like, okay, well, I've learned my lesson, so yeah,
Yeah,
move
come along,
over.
it's fine. Um, Jaxie, there was a lot of
He got
rumors that
neutered. He got neutered.
he really did, but again, I don't want to see him trying to take over the chart. Don't give me 2 years of that storyline. Do you know what I mean? But then
Don't
again,
have him chanting, "We love you,
I
oh,
Monty,"
felt,
please.
again,
yeah.
I feel like Monty brought this up earlier. We don't need another 2.0 of sort of like the tribal chief just running things for the next 2.5 years, So I really hope that this is something that is short-lived. But I guess the only thing I've got coming out of this match, if I'm being truly honest, is what made this match tribal combat?
I think the fact that they had to acknowledge the other one afterwards, maybe, and it was no disqualification.
That was the result, was it?
In
Like
fact, look,
that
don't
was the
ask
only
me.
stipulation? Because
I
I was
think so.
just kind of like,
Yes.
I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know, but
You
I
thought
was
like
just
a
like, what is
what
it?
was the
Just
thing
like
Great
tribal
Khali
combat?
used to wrestle in? I can't remember
Well,
what was
I just
the
thought,
cage,
tribal
like a
combat is
bamboo
another
cage
word
around
for
the
a no
ring.
DQ net now, like that. But whenever someone says like a stipulation match, I'm like, okay, so basically a no DQ, yeah,
Yeah, basically,
because
basically. It'd be better if
that
they're
is
on
practically
just
the
an
equivalent.
island fighting. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
literally.
I mean,
Like,
yeah. Look, shit. Like AEW gave us like one of the best matches with Darby Allin versus Pac on a fucking golf course. So I think if they could fucking make it work, then they could have at least gotten decorative and put them on
yeah.
a freaking ring island or something. I don't know, just to make it feel like it was a tribal combat or just, like put like Mortal Kombat like posts up everywhere. They should have been sponsored by MK and not freaking Scary Movie and then like played into that. I don't know. Either way,
Uh,
I was just like most of the time in that match, I was just thinking to myself, what rules are part of like tribal combat? Is it just no DQ? Because I'm genuinely confused.
no, it's true. It's true. Monty again. The rumor was that Jacob Fatu was injured, but he didn't look injured. And also, it's good to see Roman have his working boots on. You know.
Yeah, I think honestly every actual match Roman has had has been some really good stuff from him. I just think that it's the in betweens and it's the storytelling, and it's the process, and it's the fact that I felt like we're rehashing everything that we've seen before. And I know unfortunately I think the very first time we did tribal combat when it was Jay, I think I think at that time Roman's father and all that was still alive. I'm trying to think what was unique about it then. And I'm like, I do remember like the Ulafala and all that being involved and stuff. But again, I don't think they did much that was really. I don't think it was anything that's unique to the actual match, other than the fact that the both guys are, part of the family. I guess is that the stipulation? Like only two family members in the street fight makes it tribal combat. I don't know, but again, they. I thought it was a good match. I just don't know if it was a good. And maybe AEW screws up that scale because whether you talk about Stadium Stampede or you just talk about like the I Quit match, tag match that we just got, like it's hard to compare any of the stipulation matches that we get from AEW. But at least those matches feel like stipulation matches. This just, again, it's just like you said, it's just no disqualification. And I thought they did okay. And like you said, if Jacob was fighting, was hurt, I think he did really good for somebody who was supposed to be hurt. But again, yeah, to me, a lot of my investment in all of this got a lot more to do with where do we go from here from a storytelling standpoint? What version of the bloodline, or like what are we trying to get? Like, all right, a lot of bloodline fans I know are trying to tell me, well, this is the bloodline, but we're running it as faces this time. Well, usually when you're a babyface, you need a threat. Who is a bigger threat than Roman? Who is the threat to Roman? Can anybody tell me that? Can anybody give me the big bad guy that the new version of the Bloodline will be fighting? It damn sure ain't Solo. Like
It's
he's
not the
already beat
MFTs.
Solo.
It's not.
Right, he's already did that to Solo though. He's already beaten Solo down. Like who else who's left? Like that's my problem with this. It's just where it's like or even the other guy who was I guess was kind of trying to be a villain, but injuries and other things made Self have to turn face to where it's like, and of course you can always go back to that Roman versus Self because they got history and Roman still ain't ever beat him. So I'm pretty sure logically that might be where we might be going immediately. Maybe not. But I'm just trying to think that if we're doing bloodlines as baby faces, what's going to be different and who is the big heel that Roman is gonna have to overcome because that's usually what a babyface does. They overcome something. And unfortunately, Roman is still by far the biggest star. And like, I don't know everybody who's going coming to Roman is coming up to his level. Nobody really is like a threat over to Roman to us. And that's a big problem to me if you're saying this is some face run. So unless you're just cheering for the bloodline because you just want to cheer for the bloodline, why are they baby faces and what are we doing next? Why does he need his family in his corner at this point? We've seen him beat Jacob, handily now twice. I ain't gonna say handily, but he beat him twice now with not really interference or any of that. So what is the whole point of this version of the bloodline?
And also, he's got a general manager that will fire people that are too rough with him. Do you know what I mean? Because Jacob is
Right,
going to be
right.
fired. Like that's
Exactly. He got
Roman's like, no, no,
management
no.
on his side too. So again, what is the threat? Give me the hurdle that Roman has to jump over right now that makes him the hero that we need at the moment. Like he's not it doesn't. So unless you tell it so to me, everything points to either that everything points to them going back to like being bad guys. And it's just like we already done this. We already done it. So it's like unless again, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. We'll wait and see. Maybe something is in the books and they're cooking up something. But for me, my biggest worry right now is that the freshest thing on this show was not exciting. And it seemed like we walked away. Even when you got Jacob following Roman, it felt like even Roman said it like you guys are next talking to the MLTs, James. And that sounds like we finna get Roman feuding with the MLT. And
No.
who the hell wants that or interested
Oh,
in that? Seriously,
oh
who's
God.
interested in that?
Oh, it hurts. Oh God. Right. Okay. Out of 5 then for the main event, Gina, what would you give it?
A 4 1/4.
4 1/4. Jaxie
Um, a 4.
for Monty.
Yeah, four good score.
And I'll give it a 4.5. Predictions, we all went Roman Reigns. So the final score, I'm on 4, the rest are on 5. So you guys all win and you all get perfect scores as well. Oh, that's fucking great.
It's like
Well done.
twice in a row now. Twice in a
Oh,
row.
here.
I think
Oh, great.
it's
Well
becoming
done,
a
guys.
pattern at the moment.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Sucks for
Wow. That's
someone.
brilliant. WNR Prediction League after Double or Nothing a Clash. This is fucking terrible. WWE, I'm on 2 points. Jaxie, Gina are on 4. AEW, as you know, Gina's on 3, Monty Jackson 2, I'm on 1. And bonus now, this is fucking ridiculous. Jaxie's on 9, Gina's on 11 now, just 1 point behind me on 12, and Monty has taken lead on 13. I thought, Monty, that maybe this year I could keep a league, but that's it done now. Is it done? Done. You guys win. All right. Well done. You guys win.
We're not even at
Ah,
SummerSlam, James. Don't give up.
God. I thought I had a good mania and it's all gone to shit, like you said, before SummerSlam. What is the point? Overall then for this card, Jaxie, I'll come to you first. What's your match of the night, your MVP and your score out of 10, please?
Oh, I'm gonna give. This is tough. Okay. I'll I'll give match of the night to like the main event. Like no, actually, I'll give it. Do you know what? Okay, give it to Rhea and Jade. Um,
Mhm.
I'm gonna give MVP to Soul Ruka. Just for kind of being able to overcome Becky. And just make probably be one of the only people to have a real impact on this pay-per-view night. Um, out of 10, 6 3/4. It just was
No.
unnecessary, not needed.
We're not AEW biased, everybody. We just like good wrestling. Monty, same 3 questions to you.
Yeah. Uh, matches Jade and Rhea. I'm gonna give my MVP to uh, well, I guess so. Ruka makes the most sense, honestly. I mean, everybody else who won don't really need don't need much any credit for anything. Think about everybody who won. We got Brock, Cody, Rhea, and Roman. They get credit all the time. So anyway. Uh,
Do you see why I was like going on the arm trying to think, okay, wait, hold on.
yeah, so it makes the most sense. But yeah, man, that make this card also sound kind of old when I look at that when who everybody else. But anyway, let us leave it alone. Overall, I think I don't know what's the give it James. What's the number for like mid?
Well, I
Do
don't.
I
I
even have
mean,
to give a number? Can I just score it mid?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, it'd be a 7. But again, you're.
Okay, let's go with 7. Let's go with 7. You're a little nicer than me, so let's go with 7.
Hmm.
I just wasn't that interested. It's not even like I think you mentioned earlier, like, not needed, and I'm like, that's fair. And I think the reason
Yeah,
why not
yeah.
needed really hits home too is like it's just a bunch of rematches, and like so
That's why I
yeah,
scored it 6 3/4 because I was like, it really was a bunch of rematches. It was just completely unnecessary at this period.
right.
Hmm.
And the one fresh match was just like I said, disappointing. So yeah,
Well,
I
and
wasn't
was still
invested,
a rematch from Saturday night's main event. So
and I was just uninvested too. And like that's something they need to fix. WWE got to work on it. As somebody who's very invested in what like AEW is doing, WWE has to find a way to kind of make me actually care about what I'm watching when I promise at this point I'm basically watching WWE so I don't sound like a complete idiot when I'm on this show with y'all. I'm not really watching it because I want to watch it at this point.
Yeah, I'm
They got
more.
to
I'm
work on.
more.
They got to work on it.
I'm more emotionally invested in Yum Yum than I am with anything in
Right.
WWE. No, so I know my love is still there, and we've proved it even with the AAA match. You know what I mean? I love her
Hmm.
wrestling is there. It's just with WWE. So Gina, yeah, that's MVP match and rating, please.
Yeah, my match is Rhea Jade. My MVP is going to go to Jade because I think she's improved really well. And this match just perfectly showcased that. Rating, I'll give it a 7.
Give it a 7. Yeah, I'm going to go sole MVP, Jade and Rhea for match and rating. I'll give it a 7 3/4. Um, yeah. Post show, we got Joe Test, Big E, Pete Robertsburg, Kathy Creddy grabs a word with Roman. He says he's running it all forever. Oh, I can't wait. Cody joins the panel. He said he saw the replay and will give Gunther his rematch. He also said he will face Roman. And he also mentioned that he's got an entourage now, and tired is a banned word. Cody, these types of interviews will not help you. The brackets for the King of the Ring was announced. On one side, they're still doing this horrible fatal four-way fucking thing. So we've got Oba versus Penta versus Solo versus Mello, Dom versus Ron versus Priest versus Trick, Seth versus Javon versus Saints versus Tala, and then Jay versus Knight versus Keys versus Balor. Well, I'm glad that rhymed. Finn Balor has been drafted to SmackDown. Jaxie, any thoughts on the King of the Ring bracket? I mean, do we actually care? I mean, the winner gets a shot at the title.
I mean, I was kind of like excited at like the prospect of it being sort of like a bunch of fatal four ways. I think that kind of kind of creates a bit more of a different dynamic. And I'm happy for some of the people that are involved in the King of the Ring. Um, but also when it came to even the women's brackets of it, I was really confused as to why the fuck Liv's in there. She's already the champion. Um, and yeah, like, and unless someone like I don't know Penta or Oba win like the King of the Ring, I don't know. The King of the Ring hasn't really like done it well in pushing those who win it to go on to win the title. So I'm just not really excited for it.
Yeah, I'm with you. But the Queen of the Ring was announced as well. On one side, we got Rox versus Sky versus Julia versus Lash, Bailey versus Raquel versus James versus Jane, and then Cargill v Charlotte v Lara v Soul, Lynch v Bliss v Green versus Liv Morgan. Yes, the women's champion. Liv joins the panel and she says she's in it because she wants to win it all. I mean, Gina, is that just a horrible, horrible way of booking Liv Morgan, or does it show that the women's championship isn't strong enough? Which way are we going with
No,
it?
I mean, I think it just shows that they don't have faith in anybody else to take that final spot, and they just want to put Liv back in it. I don't understand. This is kind of like, I think who was it? Was it Brock Lesnar who entered the Royal Rumble even though he was the current champion, so that he could choose his opponent or something like that, or someone did something like that. But for me, that just doesn't make sense. You're taking an opportunity away from somebody else who could be in that tournament. Um, yeah, I don't really know how I feel about this. I like Liv Morgan, but I'm like, do you seriously have nothing else for her to focus on whilst this tournament is going on for the other ladies?
No.
You can't just chuck another opponent out there. No, clearly, because they really don't want to go into the catering and see who's there at the moment to put against Liv. They really don't.
Liv was
So
desperate to wrestle. That's what I feel like. She's like, damn, man, I ain't even wrestling at this point. Let me get in this tournament. They don't even put me on TV.
yeah,
You
probably
force my
that
way
then.
into a match.
It doesn't make sense though, and it takes an opportunity away from another person who could be in it.
Yeah. It's like, why is Liv doing the NXT house shows? Well, she she needs the wrestle, doesn't she? Ripley was interviewed. She spoke Italian, and Paul Heyman was last. He said it's not a big deal. Brock won, but that Ober lost. And again, I'm Monty. I don't give a fuck. Paul Heyman cannot make me care about this feud. But I guess he made a point about it.
No, he didn't make one damn point.
Oh, good.
He didn't make one damn point. He tried his best. He tried to save face. He doing his best to try to keep somebody interested in what they was doing. I mean, yeah, I mean he's doing his job personally, at least from his perspective. You can look at it that way, but yeah, I mean it ain't nothing you really can do or say to kind of save that. I mean, like eh, my point, my only thing is that when Brock was on his, he didn't have to fight The Rock again. When the Rock when the Rock passed the torch to him and he beat him for the title and moved on. Owen didn't have to fight The Rock too much. I mean, Brock didn't have to fight The Rock two more times to prove he was the next big thing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just glad Hogan's not around to listen to that. He's like, God damn, I was right. Back in the day, do you know what I mean? I should have had a rematch. So that is nearly it. I'm just going to get full. Jaxie, I got your thoughts last week on AEW. So, Gina, you're the lucky one now. What are your thoughts on WWE since Backlash to Clash as we head to Night Champions?
They need help. They need help, seriously. I honest to God just don't see anything but repetitiveness throughout everything. The storylines all seem to be the same, regardless as to who's involved in the storylines. It just ends up in feuds and factions of people coming out to, just ruin the ending of matches or help turn the tides of matches. And you lose its appeal when you do it so often, and it just seems to be regurgitated at the moment by WWE, and that can actually ruin the matches, ruin the feuds, and ruin how people are invested in these things. So yeah, they need help. They really need the women's division to have some sort of merger of the belts, or I don't know, a pickup of and the division, because it just feels stale right now. The tag division is dire. R-Truth and Damian Priest really aren't doing much as the tag champions. The Vision are still trying to do something, but I don't care. Yeah, they really just need help. So
Yeah.
if you ask me who I'm preferring at the moment, AE Dub, AE Dub.
Yeah. All right, calm down, calm down. We're gonna get hate mail. Uh, this is, well, that's it. We'll leave it there. Don't forget, across all social media, X at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR Pod James. You can find the entire WNR team on the banner. Jackson, where can people find and follow you?
On Twitch and X at Jaxie Scarlett.
Perfect. Monty.
At my Monty Pod.
And finally, Gina.
At Purple Pain.
And WNR also on Facebook and Instagram. Send us an email at WNRpodcast@gmail.com and YouTube, the WNR Podcast, where we're celebrating 11 years of the WNR with Schultz. And I'm playing old games. And I know Monty always accuses me of being old. I'm playing Sonic the Hedgehog at the moment, and I'm getting some great ratings. So you oldies, stick with me, and we'll complete that. Plus, wrestling-related stuff as well. Of course, the podcast is live on YouTube and also on SoundCloud, on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes, but you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode is next week, Monty, and it is NXT Update. We've got to catch up with that. The next time we're all together will be 3 weeks' time, and it will be our New Japan catch-up show, and that will be, I think, on the eve of Forbidden Door as well. I cannot wait. But until then, I've been James Rowlands, and I was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Oh, Jax, well done for winning again. Like you said, it's just commonplace now.
Well, it seems like this year is my year, so I hope to keep that kind of good streak going on into the next one. So we'll see.
Yeah, and of course the mind of Monty. Hopefully NXT can be better than WWE.
We'll see. Not optimistic.
Oh, I can't wait. And of course the genius of Gina. Gina, as I always say, if I can't win, at least you. I hope you can. I don't even mean it. Do you know what I mean? I'm saying words that I don't mean.
I was going to say thanks for being my own personal little cheerleader, but now I know you don't mean it.
Yeah. Yay, Gina. That is it. It's apt. The Roman Empire is stronger than ever in Italy. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.